Hello everyone and welcome to APTU. Today we're going to be discussing some strategies and methods for using Advanced Pro to manage third-party manufacturing relationships and processes. This can include relationships where you order a finished product directly from a manufacturer and simply pay them a direct fee, or situations where you own and manage some or all of the components and send them to a manufacturer or co-packer, and in turn they assemble your components, optionally procuring any additional parts, and charge you a service fee for this. They might be delivering then directly to your customers or back to your facility. Now, some examples of this might be if you're doing manufacturing and you send unfinished product to be painted by a contractor. Or another example might be a co-packer situation where you send bulk product and they go ahead and just package it for you. Just before we dive in, we will be taking any questions at the end. So if you have a question, feel free to enter it into the live chat, available if you're watching on our live broadcast on advancedprotect.com just below the video, or to the side if you're watching live on YouTube. Now, we do these live videos every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. If you want to learn more about Advanced Pro, we do have our full archive of past APTU episodes on our YouTube channel, as well as on advancedprotect.com under the Resources tab. Now, there are a lot of diverse types of third-party manufacturing relationships, and what I'd like to do today is we're going to touch on some of the most common workflows, and we're just going to go from there. Now, you might choose to use just a selection of these workflows, some of them or all of them, and you might use them in combination with one another as well, okay? So what we're going to be covering is we're going to be covering just direct purchases of goods. We're going to cover manufacturing just using a service item to cover the assembly fees. We'll be touching on using a warehouse to track stock that might be at a manufacturer site. So we'll actually create kind of a manufacturing warehouse. We're also going to talk about using a work order to create a dynamic purchase order just for services or for procured parts. We can also talk about using work order stages to clarify where the product or components are located and at what stage in a process they're located, and which company is currently working on the product if you've got several different companies involved. Finally, we're going to talk about using multi-layer work orders with sub-assemblies to manage processes that go across different service providers or deal with internal and external procedures. So a situation where perhaps you make a product and then you send it to someone to process further, and then maybe you get it back. Along the way, we're going to touch on drop shipping. This is a big episode. We've got a lot in store for you. Now, for many of these features, we actually already have full videos already on the features in greater detail. So we are going to keep things fairly light as we go through, just in the interest of time. For each feature I show today, we can also be tracking lot and serial numbers and expiration dates through the whole process as well. So do take a look at our lot and serial tracking video for details on that. This video is intended as just kind of a sampling of features and options you can choose from to give you the level of intelligence, the management capabilities, and the accounting documentation that you require to succeed in your particular business. So let's jump right in. So where we're going to start is purchasing. And if you're already familiar with Advanced Pro, this should be fairly familiar. We can come into vendors and we can click on the new order area. Go ahead and open that up. We can choose who we're going to be doing the purchasing from. As we go through manufacturing, we can also do this for getting parts. We can automatically generate purchase orders for the parts that we need. So at this point, we've got our purchase order on its way. We can add the parts that we need by SKU or by searching for them. I'm just going to look for a particular subset of my product, and I can go and see if I can order some or all of those product. Okay. So here, what we're going to do is we're just going to deal with the actual purchased part, and we're going to order a number of these purchased parts. So in this particular situation, we have a purchase part, and it's actually got a name when we order it from a vendor that's different from the name that we handle it internally. And as we go through these steps, you'll see how that may be useful. So we have these silicon wafers that we're going to order. Now we have two ways we can receive them. If we want to receive them and double check the count and do QA, we can hit save and place order. And that's going to take it forward to our warehousing area where we can receive the goods, and that will generate a bill that reflects what we received. The other option is to do a direct receive, which is what I'm going to do right now. And that's a direct bill, and that's going to receive just exactly the quantity I've put here. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to place this order. That's going to go ahead and bring that in. Now, if we had received manually, we could also be scanning product in the door or labeling them as we go. We have capabilities for all of that, but today we're really focused on just bringing in product and getting the financial outcomes out to QuickBooks. So if we're using QuickBooks with Advance Pro, that bill that got generated immediately can be synced out to QuickBooks, so nobody has to re-enter all of that purchasing information in order to pay a bill. Okay. So that process we just covered, that can work for if you're just straight up purchasing a finished product from a third-party manufacturer that you've contracted, or if you're purchasing a part. So that's the first stage, is that receiving of product, ordering product in. If we were to go through that receiving stage, we'll just quickly show that. I'm going to go ahead and order a part, and we'll just receive it into our warehouse. One thing is, if we start using these warehouses, one of these warehouses, you can have as many as you like. We're just using 2 in this example. One of these could actually be your vendor's location. So you can order product directly to your manufacturing provider's location for them to work with. So it's easy to have things sent directly to an alternative warehouse. And you can name your warehouses whatever you like. So we named them Warehouse 1 and Warehouse 2, but this could be main warehouse, service provider, anything like that. Yeah. Now we're going to go ahead and receive. And what some of our customers will do, what some Advance Pro users will do, is they will set up their manufacturing provider, who's actually managing their components for them, as a limited Advance Pro user, where that provider can come in, they can check in received goods, they can update manufacturing work orders to keep you advised of completion progress. So that's actually a completely viable way to use Advance Pro with a third-party contractor. Okay, so here we're just going to receive that item in. We'll mark in what was received, and this in turn will also generate that bill that can be synced out to QuickBooks. Put in the vendor bill or the reference number. Now we've received the goods into stock. So that's just the other way that we can receive product in. Now, let's say we've received some parts in our warehouse, and now we need to send them out to a third-party manufacturing provider. Okay, we can perform a warehouse transfer to send them the new stock. So this can happen in a couple of different ways. Let's go into Manage Inventory, and we're actually just going to look for a specific product. And we can transfer this from one warehouse to the next. So I'm going to choose the warehouse that I'm actually working in, where the stock is right now. We have 2 different ways we can send things out to our vendor. We can do 2 different transfer methods. We have an instant transfer, where that all happens instantly, and we have an in-transit transfer. And that allows us to kind of pick and pack and ship items, like you might be familiar with when you're filling a customer order in Advance Pro. And it allows someone on the other side at the other warehouse to then receive and confirm those items. So we just click the transfer button, which is this orange button down in the lower right. Go ahead and open that up. And at this point, we can choose our origin warehouse, our destination warehouse, and which type of transfer we're going to do, direct or in transit. We're going to do direct just for the sake of time. I'm going to go ahead and proceed, and then we can add products that we'd like to transfer out to our warehouse. Okay, just like adding it to a purchase order, we set the quantities that we want to transfer. So we've got 7 available. I'm going to transfer 1, and we're going to give it a reason. My reason is just going to be restock at manufacturing site. There we go. That gets a reason, and that just allows us to know when product gets moved from one location to another for audit purposes, why it's getting moved. That's it. If we are using picking locations, in this case we aren't, we could also be tracking where inside of each warehouse this product is ultimately getting put. Let's go ahead and transfer. So that's an instant transfer, and that's been sent over to our alternative warehouse now, our second warehouse. Now, using this particular process with multiple warehouses, what this enables us to do is really easily get a good audit of what is over at that vendor managed warehouse, what is at our manufacturer's location, and what is available to us. And the nice thing is if we're using this with our manufacturing tools, what we're going to get is the raw materials, they're actually going to get depleted with each project that manufacturing site takes on, and the finished goods are going to get increased as the things get completed as well. So it really accurately should give you a perfect idea of how much stock you've got. Of course, this can also go hand in hand with any cycle counting, inventory counting that your manufacturing provider is doing for you. But this really gives us a good eagle's eye view of what's going on at that warehouse. Now that we've got that stock in the warehouse, what we'd like to do is we're going to take us through work orders. So work orders is how manufacturing actually happens, and we'll talk a little bit about bills of materials as well. So this is how real production is going to happen. Now, there is also some aspects of a bill and a purchase order that are often part of this process, and we'll also be showing that. Sending a purchase order to your manufacturer. So let's talk about an assembly item and how that assembly item gets built. So we're going to work with this painted part to start. So I'm actually going to go and look at our product setup for this painted part. And what we've got is, instead of setting up a vendor that we purchase it from, we can also do that, but we've also set that we can have a bill of materials of items that go into this. So we've got a service fee. That's just, it's a cost. It's not necessarily a physical good. We've got our purchased part, and we have a part that maybe our vendor is procuring for us. And then we have the actual paint that they're directly selling us. So we've got a number of items that go onto this, only one of which we're guaranteed to have already purchased and have as an asset to start with. And then we have all these kind of value added that build up a final cost of the product. So while we've only got $1 worth of product going into each unit of this painted part, you can see there's now $5 total getting added in all these value adds that our third-party vendor is providing us. So as we go through the build process, we're going to be able to go ahead and deal with this. We could also set a selling price that reflects our real cost of this manufactured part. This really gives us a good, solid breakdown of what costs are really going into this product, and the process of dealing with the manufacturing work order, which we'll go through shortly, can also give us an idea of any kind of yield loss costs that are getting incurred as we go through the manufacturing process. So we've got this product set up. I mentioned we can also attach a vendor, so this really easily allows you to go and set a given vendor to a given product. And even if you're manufacturing it internally and getting your own components right now, it allows you to also just directly buy it. So if you have a product where you only occasionally get a contract vendor involved, or you manufacture internally now, but you think in the future you're going to have a purchase later, this is a very zero setup way to just switch between the two without really any additional configuration. Okay. So this way we could easily just purchase this part directly through our vendor purchase order method. But if we want to consume parts, we're going to use our work order, and we're going to dive into that right now. So let's jump into the work order. That's found under the manufacturing tab, and we can come into create work orders. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose the part that we're actually going to be building today, and we're going to choose the warehouse where it's going to get built. And we'll set the quantity to build, and I'm going to build 50. So what's going to happen is it's going to do any multiplication for us, and it will come up with a finished good. And in this case, I did actually choose the wrong item, so we'll take a step back and we'll choose the correct item. There we go. And at this point, I'll go ahead and put in our total that we're going to build. So this is going to go ahead and multiply out all of our required parts. And it looks like the procured part we already have in stock, but we need to go get a purchase order together for the paint and for the painting service that our vendor or that our manufacturing provider is actually going to do for us. And you'll see this VO column that's going to allow us to produce that purchase order. It's going to make a vendor order for the products that we're short on. Okay, for the products that we don't actually deal with in terms of purchasing, what we could also do is we can have a work order for them. So we can actually have a manufactured item as a component in another manufactured item. So we can go start a work order to get that, we call them a sub-assembly, so that we can have that sub-assembly so we can finish this job. And this is actually a whole tool set that's going to allow us to set schedules. You can see there's expected and cancel dates, priority levels, and stages that allow the work order to really document this event. So it's really easy to think of that bill of materials we were just looking at as a recipe or a set of instructions for how to build a product. And this is really managing this event that might take a couple hours, it might take a couple weeks of actually building the product, okay? And it also allows you to coordinate how are you going to get the stock to the site where the manufacturing is happening. This is happening in a specific facility that either you manage directly or that you have someone managing for you. And you've actually got to get services and you've got to get parts to that location, either through a vendor order, by building them using another work order, or through a warehouse transfer. So this really allows you to effectively manage all the logistics that come into this manufacturing event, whether it's happening internally at your site, or if it's happening externally at another location, okay? And we do actually get a lovely dashboard that we can use if we go to view all work orders to see everything that's in progress right now, what stage it's at. We'll get into stages in a moment. And when is it expected to be complete? How many units are being built? What part is being built? What finished product is actually being built in that work order? This really gets us kind of a good bird's eye view of what's going on across all the different facilities, across all the different vendors that you might be dealing with, manufacturing providers, as far as where products are right now. Okay, on the process of becoming built. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come back to our work order. We're going to process it, and this is going to make a vendor order for our missing parts. Let's go ahead and get that, and that includes a service fee. Okay, we'll go directly to that vendor order. We'll open that up, and here you'll see they've actually changed names. So these can be now anything you like. These could be the finished product names. These can be different names as we receive them, but they are, in fact, the exact same items, okay? So we're going to actually go ahead and receive these, but this is really handy if you want your purchase order to actually read the finished good name as opposed to services. We can do that quite easily using this change of names capability, okay? We're going to do a direct bill. We're just going to get these products in the door. And again, we can create that bill, but now we've got the stock. And when we return to our work order, it'll be under the partially processed area. We can open up our work order, and now we've got the stock. So we can process the order and finalize the order, or we can take it through these stages. And you'll see, in addition to warehouses, we have these stages that can give you labels that tell you where this process is at. We just touched on this with the dashboard, but here you can see we can set up things like it's in transit to, or it's in transit from, or it's processing at a given vendor site. And these are actually fully customizable, so you could put your actual vendor name in there, or your actual manufacturing provider name right in there to very easily say, this is being painted, this is being packaged right now, it's processing. So we've queued up this project and we know where it's at. And again, your manufacturing provider can be part of this. You can give them a login to Advanced Pro and they can come in and update you as to where a project is at. And when they've shipped it out, they can say, hey, now it's in transit from. It's on its way back to your main warehouse. Maybe they're not shipping it out. Maybe they're delivering directly to your customers. And I'll show you some capabilities for that as well. So for now, we're going to save this. We're going to finalize the order. And at that moment, when you finalize the order, this is when your parts are actually depleted. Previously, they were just on reserve for a particular project. Now they've been depleted from your stock. And your finished good, its stock level has gone up. So now we've got our finished product. We can ship it out. And that kind of concludes one way we can do that whole manufacturing cycle. Now, we might be passing from one vendor to the next. So I mentioned we can also do work orders that actually involve an assembly item. So here, we can actually go and get our assembly item that's going to use our painted part now. And we can do it in different locations. I'm going to go ahead and run 100 of these. We'll go ahead and proceed. And at this point, you'll see that it's going to use a service fee, and it's going to use a manufactured item. And we happen to have the stock now to fill this, so we can go ahead and fill this out. If we didn't have the stock for that painted part, it would make a work order that would kind of kickstart the process that we just went through. So this is one more way that we can manage these kind of multi-stage, multi-manufacturing service provider relationships. Okay? Now, I do want to mention now a couple ways that we can manage delivery to a customer directly from your vendor, whether it be something that you're using drop shipping, or something where you're actually going and having your vendor fulfill directly. So these are two methods that we can use. One is to just fill from a given warehouse. So as we make a sale, we have two options. And I'm actually going to sell two products, and I'll show your options. So one is to have your vendor do fulfillment directly in Advance Pro. And if you do that, you're going to have a couple of options. Go ahead and save that. We'll place the order. One is you can just say, this particular customer, this particular item, it always gets filled from our vendor's warehouse. That's going to make a pick ticket in Advance Pro, and your vendor is going to be able to ship out using our picking, packing, and shipping methods. And we do have a whole video on that. So I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and check out the customer sales order, picking, packing, and shipping, and invoicing video on that. Now, we do also have a capability to drop ship. So if this is a situation where you are purchasing parts, as opposed to running the manufacturing work order we went through, we can very easily go ahead and do a vendor order for this product. This could be our manufacturer at this point, and we can check off drop shipping. So this is going to allow us to have a special drop shipping order that doesn't come through our warehouse, but is instead queued up to be delivered directly to our customer's shipping address. We do have a lot of great features around this. This is going to conclude today's general tour of the various features around third-party manufacturing. If you do have any questions, do feel free to put them into the live chat down on the Advanced Pro Technologies website below the video, or just to the right-hand side if you're watching on YouTube Live. I'd like to thank you all for watching. We will be answering those questions in just a moment. We'll hold just a moment for them to come in. If you're not watching live, thank you for watching. And please remember to subscribe. And you can click the alarm bell if you're watching on YouTube. And that's going to allow you to get a phone push notification the next time we put out a video. Okay, thank you for watching. I don't see any questions, so we're going to conclude today's session.